Hello all, welcome to another session in this course. As part of this session, I'm going to cover the next topic, that is HTML basics, which is one of the prerequisites we have to learn before we start learning the Playwright automation tool. In the previous session itself, I mentioned that before you learn Playwright automation tool, there are four prerequisites. As part of this course, there are four prerequisites that we have to first complete learning before we get started with Playwright automation tool. First one of them is HTML basics. Only the basics of HTML we have to learn, guys. Only the basics of HTML is required. You don't have to learn HTML in depth. Just basics of HTML is more than enough. After that, you can learn locators, then JavaScript, then TypeScript. Then you can start with Playwright automation tool. Now, in this session, I'm going to start HTML basics. That is basics of HTML. Whatever the basics of HTML, which are enough for you to start learning the Playwright. Okay. Only that much amount of HTML I'm going to explain in this sessions. Okay. So HTML basics may not be completed in the same session, guys. I may take multiple sessions for covering this HTML basics, and this is a part one, you can assume. Okay. Fine. So let's get started with the HTML basics prerequisite for Playwright automation tool. First of all, why we have to learn HTML basics, or why we have to learn HTML before we start learning the Playwright automation tool? Why we have to learn HTML or basics of HTML as part of this course? The first thing here is, if you learn HTML, if you have the basic knowledge of HTML, then only you can understand some concept known as locators, which is the next prerequisite. You see, the second prerequisite we have here is locators, right? If you want to understand this locators concept without having the knowledge of HTML or basic knowledge of HTML, you cannot understand these locators. So that is one of the number one reason why we have to first learn HTML before we learn the Playwright or before we learn locators. So locators required, okay, if you want to learn locators, that requires you to have the knowledge of HTML or basic knowledge of HTML is more than enough. The second reason why we have to learn HTML as part of this course is not only about the locators, guys, not only to learn the locators topic, but also when you are automating different type of UI elements. Okay, when you are automating different types of UI elements using Playwright automation tool, sometimes the knowledge of HTML is required. Okay, so these UI elements that you are interacting with or automating, to interact with such kind of UI elements, the knowledge of HTML, okay, how these UI elements got built with the help of HTML is required. Without that, you won't be able to understand how the Playwright is automating some kind of UI elements. Not every UI element, good number of UI elements. Like for example, if you are automating tables, okay, using Playwright automation tool, if you are automating tables, if you don't know how to create a table with the help of HTML code, that particular session won't be easy for you. Okay, that particular session of the Playwright automation script, writing the Playwright automation script, which is automating the table or retrieving different type of data from the table, won't be understandable by you. So these are the reasons, guys. These are the reasons why we have to first learn the HTML basics before we start learning the Playwright automation tool. One is for locators purpose, another is for if you really want to understand how to write the Playwright automation scripts for automating different type of UI elements like tables, calendars, and all so on. The HTML knowledge or basics of HTML that are required for building this kind of elements is required, guys. So considering all these elements, all these items in mind, that is why HTML is required for locators and this automation purpose, have collected this HTML basic concepts. Okay, if I expand this, you will get a lot of topics here. Why I'm covering a lot of topics here? If you understand these topics, guys, then you can not only understand the next trick side, that is locators, but also you'll understand how to use Playwright automation tool to automate different type of UI elements because you have the basic knowledge of HTML. Okay. So with that note, let's get started with the HTML basics, guys. Now we understood why while working with Playwright automation, we need to learn locators. Okay. For understanding the locators, we need to have the knowledge of basic knowledge of HTML. And also while automating the applications or while automating the different UI elements on the application, also if you want to understand how the Playwright automation tool is actually automating such kind of different type of UI elements on the website pages, for that also if you have the basic knowledge of HTML, that will be useful to you. Okay. So for example, the topics like iframes, tables, drop-down, calendar, windows. Okay. If you have to understand this kind of topics like, how to use Playwright automation tool to automate iframes, tables and all, you need to have the basic knowledge of HTML, of how to use HTML for building this kind of items. Then it will be more easy for you to learn Playwright automation tool. Then, so why the delay, guys? Let's learn HTML basics in this session. I may not be able to cover entire HTML or entire HTML basics that are required for Playwright automation tool or for locators. I cannot cover in this single session. I'll be breaking this HTML basics or basics of HTML that are required for this Playwright automation or locators into multiple parts. So this is a part one, guys. So let's get started with the part one. As part of the part one, what I'm going to cover, what is HTML I'm going to cover. Okay, first part is what is HTML. So let's understand what is HTML. HTML stands for, full form of HTML is Hypertext Markup Language. Okay, what is the full form of HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Okay, so this is the full form of HTML. Then what is the purpose? Just understanding the full form is not enough, guys. But why people have to learn HTML? Using HTML, developers can build or create, okay, build, develop or create something known as web pages. If you go to any website, okay, if you go to any website, for example, let me take you to one website here, one demo website, let me take you to. So this is a demo website. If you can clearly see, this particular website contains a lot of website pages, guys. Okay, you can go to the register page, you can go to the login page, like that many pages are there. Now currently we are on the home page of the application. Okay, this is one of the page. Whatever that you are seeing on the screen is one of the website page, one website page, or this is a web page. Now, how do you think this particular website page got created? Developers have built this okay, website page with the help of HTML. Right click on this website page and say view page source, and in the source code, okay, right click on the website page and say view page source, and you'll get the entire HTML code that is written by the developer for building this kind of website page. So then what is the purpose of HTML? Using HTML, we can build website pages, okay, web pages. Web pages can be built with the help of HTML. Web pages can be built with the help of web pages. Without HTML, developers cannot build web pages. HTML is nothing but the language that is used by the developers for building this kind of website pages. Okay, that's what is the purpose of HTML. The full form of HTML is Hypertext Markup Language, and it is a language used by the developers, okay, to write or create or build website pages. Okay, fine. Now, the collection of web pages will become a website. Okay, this collection of related web pages which are built with the help of HTML, collection of related pages which are built with the help of HTML, okay, is nothing but a website. Okay, what is a website? Website is nothing but a collection of related pages which are built with the help of HTML. Okay, so if you go to any website, guys, like flipkart.com, amazon.com, whatever the website, if you go, and that website is not a single web page, rather it is a collection of web pages where each and every web page got developed by the developers by writing the HTML code, right? With the help of HTML code, that particular developers have built the web pages, and these related web pages group put together will become a website. You see, this is a website. This tutorialsninja.com is a website. It has a lot of web pages. It has a register page, it has a home page, it has a login page, okay? It has forgotten password page, it has contact us page, it has returns page, and many website pages are there here. So this related web pages together is becoming a website, okay? That's what is called as a website. Just having the basic knowledge, guys, okay? I'm just explaining the basic knowledge. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Using HTML, we can create web pages, and website is nothing but a collection of these related web pages. Example. So any website you can go, guys, any website you can go. Here I gave this as an example. You can also go to another website. For example, kfox.com is another website, guys. And this website has a lot of web pages. You see, if you go here, there's another website page. Like that, many web pages are there. Each and every web page of this particular website is built with the help of HTML code. Okay. So any web page you take, right click on the blank area of the page. Okay. If you go to one web page, right click on the blank area of the page and select view page source, you'll get the HTML code of the page that is written by the developer for building or creating such kind of web page. And which language has been used by the developer? HTML language, okay? Hypertext markup language has been used for building such kind of website page. Okay, who can understand this HTML? The next item that you have to understand about HTML is HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Using HTML, developers can or anyone can build web pages, okay? And collection of web pages is called as a related web page is called as a website. And final thing here you have to understand here is who can understand this HTML code? The browser software, okay? Browsers can understand HTML code. Who can understand HTML code? Browsers can understand HTML code. So here, you see, this is a Chrome browser, okay? When you are passing this application page URL, when you are passing this application page URL, right? So how this web page is getting displayed here on the browser? Because browser is, once you give the URL here, the browser will be inputted some HTML code, okay? Will be inputted some HTML code of the home page, and browser will go through that HTML code and render that HTML code in the form of as an output. The browser will read take the input as HTML code, and for our display purpose, it will display this website page, guys, okay? Browsers can understand the HTML code and okay, browsers can understand the HTML code and render this, and then render this or give this as an output, okay? Render this HTML code in the form of web page, okay? In the web page output, in the form of web page output. That HTML code inputted to any of the browsers like Chrome browser or Firefox browser or Opera browser, Edge browser, Safari browser, okay? And any other type of browsers, guys, okay? Will be, okay, this HTML code inputted to the browsers will be understood by the browsers, and the browsers will convert this HTML code into the or convert this HTML or understand this HTML code and render that particular HTML code in the form of web page output. This kind of UI will come. Okay, the browsers are doing this activity, guys. Browsers are intaking the HTML code, and by understanding the HTML code and by rendering the HTML code, the browsers will display this HTML code in the form of these web pages. That's what you have to understand. That is the role of the browsers, guys. Which software generally understand the HTML code? If someone asks you, you have to answer that as browsers. Any browser, every browser is a software, guys. Okay, this Chrome browser is software, Opera browser is a software, everything is a software, right? Okay, browsers are the type of softwares which can understand the HTML code and display that HTML code in the form of content, that is UI web page content. Okay, fine. Now you understood, hope you understood, guys, what is HTML, what exactly is HTML. HTML stands for hypertext markup language, and all you understood. Now let's do one thing. So here you understood what is HTML, and this basics of HTML are required for you know learning Playwright, because HTML basics are one of the prerequisites that are required before you start learning the Playwright automation tool. And this is a part one of HTML for Playwright automation tool, guys. In the part two, I'm going to show, in the next session, I'm going to show you where we are going to write, run and practice HTML code for Playwright automation tool purpose, where we are going to write, run and learn the HTML code. Okay. So we need an editor, guys. How to download the editor, how to install the editor, which editor is suitable, everything I'm going to cover in the second part. Okay. After this, in the next session, the second part I'm going to cover. So that's all for this session, guys. See you in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye.